Now, Darren, more than 1,700 prisoners have been released early in England and Wales as part of a government scheme to ease overcrowding in prisons. I've got to say, Darren, this seems like a worry to me.
Yeah, well, indeed, it is. I mean, there were a load of young men getting out of prison yesterday saying that they would vote for the Labour Party for the rest of their lives. They were so happy with that as they popped champagne corks and all the rest of it. Uh, Look, this is deeply troubling because the report suggests that actually there are a whole host of people in this country, victims of crime, who don't know that the perpetrator of said crime is now released and into the wild. So, getting up to goodness only knows what. There is no safety anymore in this country. You know, knife crime goes off without a hitch. Phone snatchings in London are more frequent than catching one of those red buses. It seems like this is a country that is really just saying to hell with law and order, and that has severe consequences for the population, but also even for tourism and things like that. People don't feel safe coming to a country that is operating in the way in which we are right now. So I'm afraid to say that until actually the law and lawmakers make sure that there are consequences for lawbreakers, then this kind of thing is just going to continue to spiral on. I don't know about you, but I would have done absolutely everything in my gift to make sure that prisoners would not be out early, to make sure they had actually suffered the consequences of their actions. But now we're talking, believe it or not, the Labour government are talking about putting them up in hotels in the interim because we don't have the prison population. Well, what's wrong with the Bibby Stockholm that we had just off the coast of Britain, where actually we were going to put the so-called asylum seekers that arrived here illegally? Well, that surely would have done for a few prison population places. But instead, we're talking about putting them in hotels. I mean, what kind of a deterrent is that?
Well, what kind of a precedent is it setting? It's just like, here you go, here's a free-for-all, you can get out of jail early, no worries on the Labor government. Extraordinary. Now, look, the UK has joined the US, France and Germany in imposing fresh sanctions on Iran for supplying Russia with ballistic missiles for use in Ukraine. Darren, the measures include halting national carrier Iran Air's ability to fly to the UK. How big of an impact will this have, do you think?
Look, I think the impact will be negligible at best because let's not forget that we are a country that just the other week suspended, banned certain arms sales to the State of Israel. Now, the State of Israel, in my opinion, is very much at the frontier of the battle against the tyrannical Iranian state and its proxies. Now, we can do this all we want and virtue signal about Iran Air and all these other things, but actually we just said to Israel that we're going to unarm them in certain respects whilst they actually fight Iran. Now, to me, that means that we're pandering to the allies of Iran here at home over actually to standing by what is one of our most important key strategic allies within the region. So I think this is just completely disjointed by the United Kingdom. Apparently our US allies are also angry with the decision that Sir Keir Starmer made to suspend the sale of those arms. So I'm afraid that I don't buy this whatsoever. I think there is far too much pandering to these nefarious Islamists who are in the state of Iran, but also their allies within the Western world too. And until we get serious on that, because Iran does have a significant hold within places like the United Kingdom, which is maddening to say, to be perfectly frank. But until we actually get serious on the threat at home as well, well, it doesn't really matter about the threat through an airline carrier, I'm afraid.
No, I completely agree. Now, look, I want to pivot to the royals because Meghan and Harry showed their desperation for relevancy once again. Soon after Princess Kate released her heartfelt cancer update, the non-royals then released a teaser for their latest Netflix program, Polo. I don't know about you, I find the timing very curious. They've always got to one-up the actual royal family, it seems.
Yeah, exactly, and it's disgusting timing, really, isn't it? Given that that was a very emotional video in which the Princess of Wales, Kate, was actually making clear that she had gone through her chemotherapy journey, and it was a message of hope, of love, of optimism. Really, really lovely. And then you've got actually a little sop to a sport that precious little people play, apart from the extremely privileged in many cases, and royal members of the royal family. So I think the timing cannot be coincidental, as Jenny Bond was saying there. I think actually the fact of the matter is that they want to actually piggyback off of the fact that Kate is in the press in such a serious way. Every single press outlet that I can think of, whether it be America, Australia, the United Kingdom, was carrying that video.
Yeah.
So they want to actually ensure that their Netflix venture, which is going down the pan, by the way,
Yeah.
they want to make sure it has some semblance of success. This is
Always.
desperation from this petulant pair.
Absolutely. As always, Darren Grimes, great to have you on. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.